Hello Facebook Live, Jesse once again from Fulla Strength and Conditioning here with tip number 18 of my 90 fitness tips in 90 days. Before I get into this one, guys, I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who's been listening and watching to the tips that I've been providing. One thing that I do ask is if you do get some benefit from it, if you find you get some piece of information or a tip or a little bit of something that's going to help you on your path, I'd really appreciate if you just give it a thumbs up or a comment or share it to someone who you think might benefit from it as well. So I want to get these messages out to the broader community and public, and the way that I can do that is with your help. So I'd really appreciate it if you give me some love, give it a like, and share it around if you think it is of value and someone else can benefit. All right. Without further ado, jumping straight in. So this is another Q&A. This one is a question that I posed on the 8th of August. So just trying to get some ideas or questions from people of what I can help with and what topics people wanted covered. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to multitask. I'm just going to read it off my computer word for word, and then I will give my 2 cents worth. So this question is from Liam Eddy. So Liam, thanks for the question, mate. I appreciate it. He wants to know about abdominal strength training. So some people like Poliquin, so that's Charles Poliquin for those who aren't aware. Charles Poliquin say that core training moves such as dragon flags or leg raises only require adequate coordination, and that experts can realize these movements in as little as 6 weeks. These moves do not make the core stronger, but are a sign of a strong core. They go on to say that only movements such as loaded carries or get-ups make the waist stronger by improving neural signaling and muscular coordination. What is your opinion? Do you recommend the big 3 and additional loaded movements as waist training, or abdomen specific movements? So just going backwards, loaded carries, those are things like farmer's carries or suitcase carries, and get-ups could be Turkish get-ups as just one example. And he asks, what is my opinion? Do I recommend the big 3? That would be the squat, bench, and the deadlift. Right. It's a bit of a loaded question. So Liam, thank you once again for sending it through. My recommendations with regards to core training are pretty much as follows. Focus on strength training as your prime means of getting stronger overall. So that includes the big 3, absolutely. At Fulla Strength and Conditioning, we prioritize 4 movement patterns: push, pull, hinge, squat. So that covers the big 3 and their variations. Right. I recommend the big 3 as long as you have no injuries or limitations within getting into those positions and obviously loading it. I would definitely recommend the big 3: squat, bench, deadlift, and also overhead press. Shoulder press is a fantastic way to strengthen through the midsection. Dragon flags are quite advanced. I haven't actually read the article from Poliquin. I don't actually know he's saying that people can realize that in 6 weeks. He's also talking about experts, Liam. So with regards to that, I would say it definitely comes down to the person, the individual, and their training age and experience. Leg raises only require adequate coordination. I would definitely agree with that statement. So if you're holding either from a dead hang with the arms suspended or from the captain's chair, then obviously there's minimal coordination required for such a movement. All you have to do really is lift the knees or lift the legs straight up. So I definitely agree with that statement. With regards to making the core itself stronger, I want to run through what the core actually is. So let's see if I can get my camera to the right angle, and let's see if I can get this. So the core, guys, the core would be pretty much anywhere between these 2 points, pretty much there. The trunk, I would call the core anywhere between those 2 parts, pretty much from the knee to the shoulder. That would be what I would compose the core. I would call it the trunk. And one of the best ways that you can actually strengthen or target that area is by anti-movement exercises. So what I mean by that is exercises where you actually have to resist movement. So The core, the actual function of the core is to maintain a rigid, a stable midsection or trunk while there is movement at the extremities. So what I mean by that is I'm trying to hold this posture here while I have movement at my arms or at my legs. So for example, a squat, I want to have a nice, stable, straight line or neutral spine between those points under movement and possibly under load. So you don't have to use dragon flags. That's just one way that you can actually isolate that area. Okay, so for those, yes, I would say definitely they only require adequate coordination, yes. Something as a squat, a deadlift, and a bench press require a lot more coordination as they're multi-joint movements and therefore could result in better gains. Loaded carries, I think, are fantastic, Liam. I think they're fantastic. I had a group session this morning, and we did farmers walks basically around our little circuit, around our area that we were working. I think they're fantastic. Once again, you have to resist lateral flexion, so side bending. You have to resist rotation and forwards, backwards bending, so arching or rounding through the back. So I think they are tremendous to develop a strong core, yes. Get-ups, exactly the same. You've got that load with a kettlebell or a dumbbell over your head. And then once again, you have to maintain that nice tight neutral spine throughout movement. Okay. So Liam, a long-winded answer there, but definitely my recommendation is always to stick to the basics. Push, pull, hinge, squat. If you can get really proficient at those, under load, you are going to strengthen your core muscles. So one thing you need to realize as well, guys, is that if you want to build your or define your midsection, you need to train it. So whether that be directly via dragon flags, leg raises, or ab wheel rollouts, or whether it be indirectly where you work a big compound movement such as a squat, a deadlift, bench press, overhead press. Okay, it all comes down to your proper breathing and bracing mechanics, so you're getting that midsection nice and tight before you actually move. Okay, so Liam, I hope that answers your question, mate. I think they can both be used. Obviously, it comes down to the specific goals and requirements of the individual and obviously their training experience. So if you are already proficient in the big three movements and their variations, then definitely a little bit of direct work such as dragon flags or leg raises can be of benefit to give them some specific and targeted training. Okay, I hope that answers your question, mate. If you have any queries or comments, guys, please post them below. And once again, if you got something out of this video, if you learned something, if you can incorporate any of the tips that I've given you, please give it a like, share it forward, pay it forward to someone else so they can benefit from this tip as well. All right, that's tip number 18, guys. Until tomorrow, go and crush some training and enjoy the rest of your Friday. Until next time, bye-bye.